Okay, so now we are going to do these windows, which are green. There's some kind of green blind or something, but not all of them are green. So let's use this mint green I've got, and I think I'm going to use another Japanese brush, but a thinner one. They call them bamboo brushes. I quite like them compared to round brushes. Okay, so I should start here because I'm going to be moving this way, and I'm just going to check. Yeah, the video is running and you can see. So I did say this is a little bit tedious because we're just drawing rectangles, and I can get bored very, very quickly. That's why you'll probably never have a lesson by me on colour wheel theory. I'm just not so keen on that kind of stuff. Okay. Now, an important point here is we've got a little bit of perspective going on here. But another important point is I don't want to I don't want to do this too carefully, because if I do it too carefully, it will just not look very good. There needs to be a certain casualness to how I paint this. Okay. And now I'm going the wrong way, but there we go. But this is a lovely mint green colour, and so I think this is really going to work well. Just relax and enjoy the process. Okay, now I'm switching to the grey version. I might even just do purple. Well, it's a kind of lilac colour. Lilac is almost a kind of grey, isn't it? I mean, when is it lilac and when is it grey? Not too sure, actually. And yeah, you see me messing around here now, mixing them up. But the reason for that is I don't want it to be too neat, but all that's going to be hidden. I was basically wasting my time there, actually, because I'm going to do a big shadow there, and so you're not going to be able to see that. Little subtle changes. I should be doing them here. Oh, and there we go. Too dark. But sooner or later you mess it up, so the thing is to be aware that you will mess things up at some point, and just to get used to that and not get too worried about it. Now these windows, they do change colour a little bit. Like this grey colour. Some are a bit whiter than others, and some of them, as I look carefully now, the ones down here, they're a different size. And I think we might include that because it's quite interesting. it adds a little bit of variety. Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. And then over here, back to green. If you can, you always want to be making nice marks. Now, these brush strokes here are nice. And if you can, you always want to be making strokes like that, but sometimes you can't. But enjoy it when you can. Okay, and after saying that, I realise I need to make these a bit wider. There we go. One of the really tricky things at first about watercolour painting is, of course, you want to do a good picture and you're quite serious, but at the same time you really need to be also loose, and it needs to show in your brush strokes, and almost it's like doing watercolour painting is a lot like one of these lie detector tests, in that your state of mind, like if you're kind of a bit worried or nervous, you're actually going to see it in the painting in strokes that are too careful. And likewise, if you're very casual, you're also going to be able to see that in the strokes. It's one of those interesting aspects of watercolour painting. And so you do need, when you begin, before you do your proper painting, I think, to do a quick sketch just to loosen you up and just not to feel so stressed and worried that you have to do this great painting. And you'll learn a lot from it. You will just learn so much from doing that. Now what I'm going to do here is use the side of this brush like that, and I think that looks kind of nice. I want a bit of a dry brush effect. Now I'm not mad on those marks, to be honest. I think a dry brush effect going across would be better, but I haven't quite got the courage to do it. So I'm holding off at the moment. I'm having to think about that. Now this really is a beautiful building, isn't it? Okay. There might be a little bit of white, just a touch of white in this brown. I think this is something like burnt sienna or burnt umber. But sometimes a bit of white can be good, despite what some people say, because it can just give you a kind of chalky kind of effect, which can look quite good for some things. Oh yeah, I'm getting a lovely dry brush effect there, aren't I? It didn't work there though, did it? That's what I was worried about if I did my dry brush effect. So what we can do is dab it on here, get some scrap paper. Sadly, this scrap paper is very good paper, better than this, and it's got a rough texture. And so a rough texture is much easier to get a dry brush effect on. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get really dry brush with this because it's quite smooth. Oh, that was nice. And I just need to suggest this railing. It doesn't have to be detailed, and I shouldn't bother with them. They'll all be in shade, so we're not going to see them. And despite these windows being really small, they do have this little, not balcony, but ledge. Okay, there we go. Not too bad. Looks a bit too nice, which can look rubbish, to be honest, sometimes. Okay. And then, there we go. Now I should let this dry. I think some of the windows are still wet, but just go for it. That's not too bad. Yeah. Okay, and then we've got some more windows over here. So let's do them. Yeah, I actually think this is looking quite nice. Can you see I've got a bit of a cauliflower there? That will be hidden by the mat or the mount, which will cover about 5 millimeters. So you won't see that when this painting is framed. So remember that also about your own paintings. The edges don't always have to be perfect. And you can even make the edge of the mount wider. Because sometimes I think if you care too much about the edge of the paper, which is always a bit of a difficult area, then sometimes you can end up spoiling the overall painting because you end up being too careful, or you want to cover every single bit of the paper, and you can end up just with a painting that lacks spontaneity, or just there's more chance of messing it up, I think, in my opinion. There we go, we've done that bit. And now I might do just a suggestion of a kind of mid-tone kind of colour with a bit of dry brush under these parasols. Yeah. Where's my dry brush? And I might, just for interest, a bit of blue. Why not a bit of blue? Just a bit of blue in here. It just suggests all the variety of colours that you're going to get in there, which is impossible to describe well. Okay, and then let's go for this lovely orange roof. And maybe I didn't do my skyline correctly, but there you go. Don't let it get you down. I think sometimes Let's forget about what I was going to say. Let's focus on this bright orange roof. Now, if this is too orange for you, you can always mix it with a bit of like burnt sienna, yeah? But do remember, this is going to fade. So it's not going to look quite this brilliant orange colour, which is a shame. It's a shame. Sometimes when I'm painting and the paint's all wet, it just looks so amazing. It's unbelievable. And then when it dries off, it actually does look a bit not quite as good. I shouldn't say that, but it's the truth. That gets me down a bit sometimes. It really, really does. At the moment, this is beautiful, this orange colour. So beautiful. And then we've got this edge. There we go. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Look, there's a bit of a mistake there, a bit of a white gap, but hardly anybody will see that. And you really want, especially early on, but even later, I think, to paint loosely if possible. You want to try and get a little bit of looseness into your painting. It'll be more fun and it will look better. Ooh, did you see that big mistake there? I went over the edge. So this is a bit dangerous, but I'm going to try and hide it by lowering the whole roof. And then I can hide a bit more of that with a shadow. So that's how you fudge things, okay? Important to know, very important to know. So let's leave that to dry, and it went pretty well.